Hello, how are you doing today? So this is part two of a most likely going to be a three-part series all around creating content for your social media accounts so that you can get maximum engagement from your ideal audience. And so last week, what we did is we used a series of prompts that I had, and I shared with you how you could create 30 days of content. And I'm going to actually share a little bit more information about our part two is really going to be how do you take those ideas that you created, actually create content, and then our part three is going to be how do we actually schedule that and forget. So the name of this topic is create and release. And what I do know about where we are in this part of the year is we are about to be a part of the biggest spending frenzy known to man, which is fourth quarter of any year. People are going to be excited about the holiday season and they're going to want to spend money with you potentially if you've done your job all year with growing an audience. But even if you haven't and you're sort of new to growing an audience, the fourth quarter is a great time to start to get people interested in your travel business so that when they are ready to travel, let's say in the upcoming year or even in 2026, because all of you travel advisors should, I said 2026, I really meant 2025 and 2026, you want to have an audience of people to actually market to. So part two is really, I'm going to do a quick refresher. I'm going to introduce this really amazing tool that I've created for you all that are a part of my community that's really going to help the whole prompt usage process a whole lot easier and make it a lot easier for you to actually interact with AI as opposed to having to cut and paste. So let's get to it. This is actually going to be a lot of showing and telling as opposed to me just talking about theory. So I'm going to sort of refresh your memory as to what we talked about last week. And let me get my screen up. So last week, I shared with you all a series of prompts that help you introduce who your ideal client is and what you need to know about them so that you can then create, based on a theme, you could create 30 days worth of content. So I've done a little bit one up. I took all of my prompts and took all of that information and created a custom GPT that we are going to call OTB Social Flow. And the first thing that we want to do is let's just find out what this GPT can do for us. So let's ask it, what can you do for us? So I'm still working on perfecting this, but what it will do is when you ask that question, there's going to be some questions that it'll ask. But what I did is I designed the prompt, this GPT, to sort of take all of the guesswork for you in terms of cutting and pasting all the prompts that I did. You literally can now just talk to it as if you were talking to me and ask it questions based on the way that we want this prompt to operate. So hopefully you guys are excited about this. I really would love for you guys to test it because really what I do know about what you all have told me over the years is that you struggle with creating the marketing content. And I want to take that struggle away from you. So what we really want to get you in the habit of doing is creating your content, getting it scheduled, released, and forget so that you can focus on having more calls, taking care of more travel requests, designing more group trips. Let the marketing part of your business be more of a second nature to you than something that is problematic. We want to provide you with the tools to do that. We have Travel Pro Suite. So let me start with that. Let me make sure you guys know what that is. And then we'll go into how to use this, this great tool that I've created. So what is required to use this tool is ChatGPT. So if you don't have an account, you will need to get an account. I'll show you how to do that if you are new to ChatGPT and you don't have an account. So you want to make sure that you get an account. And let me also introduce myself just for if you may not know who I am. My name is Sundey Gardner. So welcome to my channel. Welcome to this week's last training of the week. And I come to you talking all things launching, operating, and marketing your travel business for profitability. And so what we've been focused on, what we will be focused on through this entire month is really the marketing and really demystifying what marketing means for travel advisors and how to really show up and show out in a powerful way. And we want you to do that effortlessly. We want that not to be something that when you think about marketing, you roll your eyes up in your head and you're like, oh my God, I just don't want to do it. Get it done. Let's get it done, get it released, and let's move on to the next task and let it do what it's supposed to do, which is generate leads, generate engagement, and then generate purchases for you. All right. So what I want to do here is just kind of go through what we went over just a little bit quickly. We went over 3 major things that we want to do when we sit down and create a content calendar. Is we want to know who it is that you're trying to get out of town. Who do you want to work with? Who is your ideal client? And what I do know is that many of you guys struggle with that. So you guys, when we did this last week, you're like, oh, I don't really know who that is, or you gave me some very vague answers. And so this GPT is really designed to help you get an idea of who you want to work with so that it's super clear for you. And if it's clear for you, then you can give instructions to the GPT to help you write and create content that's going to connect with who it is that you're doing. So one of the things, if you don't have your ideal client clearly identified, you don't have a brief of, that maybe you worked with someone and they called it a persona. If you're not clear on who your ideal client is, start with number 1. Ask it to, let's work on number 1. And number 1, what it's going to do is ask you a series of questions to get in your head so we can get that on paper. So it'll ask you the specific questions that we need in order to be able to create a content plan for you. So listen, let's go through this. I'm not going to spend too much time on this because I'm going to actually give you the link of this at the end. So if you're watching this in the replay, you're just going to want to check the link that's in the description of this video, and there'll be a link to this GPT. Love for you to test it out, give feedback to me or inside of our communities, and let us know. Our community is portal.onlinetravelboss.com. If you join us there, that is where I will absolutely interact with you on a very personal level to make sure. We also have a Facebook group, and that's Facebook group. That's facebook.com/groups/AI for travel. So in those 2 communities, if you want to come in and talk about the results that you're getting, let me know. But I also will be dropping the link inside of that community. Where we're going to pick up today is the actual content, because what we did last week was we created the 30 days of content. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually give it some context already, and I'm going to say that I want to work with, and I always love this to be interactive. So if you are watching and you would like to, let me see if I can get the comments up for our Facebook group. If you would like to give me some context, we can use your group or your ideal client, and I'll use that in the chat. Let me see if I can get this chat open so I can see what's going on. All right, so what we're going to do is I'm going to give it some content, and I'm going to say travel. People are always telling me that these are their ideal clients. So couples, or this is probably a very popular one, busy women professionals who have not made time for themselves and are burnt out. Create content plan. I didn't spell that right, but ChatGPT is forgiving and it won't necessarily penalize you for misspelling. So what this is going to do is, since we said number 1, it's going to create this audience summary for you. It's going to create the audience summary for you, the pain points. We also have included in here ways to relate to their needs, niche experiences that you can create, and then how you can position your services to help that person. What I want you to do is I want you to save this. Like if you like the results of your ideal client in your summary, we want you to actually save this off so that you have it, so that if you ever start a new ChatGPT or anything, you always have this context of your ideal client available for you. So based on the fact that we said that we wanted to do a 30-day content plan, it's asking us, and I'm a strong believer that you need to really create themes to talk about. So if you have a destination that you're trying to promote, Black Friday, big holiday reason to celebrate is coming up. And what you're going to want to do is create themes around what you want to talk about. So a theme is just the overarching topic that you want to talk about for the month, and subtopics become weekly things that you can talk about relative to your audience and what it is that you want. So if you have a specific objective, let's say you want to promote, and I was testing this just for what we're getting ready to do in November, as a part of our Black Friday and the offers that we're doing. I sort of use what we're doing in the test, gave me some really great ideas. I would encourage you to do the same thing. So here it's giving you an empowering women to recharge. But what I want you to do is, particularly since November is coming up, put that in here, is that, I've got, November is next month. November is next month. And I want to grow my email list. And I don't have any offers. I don't have any offers to really promote, but want to create energy around the holidays. So this is going to give it some, because many of you are like, yes, I'm not ready for Black Friday. I don't know what to do for Black Friday. I don't have any offers. I don't have an email list. I don't have anybody to sell to. So fine, tell the GPT that you don't have that. And then what it's going to do is that it's going to create a theme based really around the upcoming month. Never miss the opportunity to create content around what's going on in the world. November is going on in the world of the United States. So we want to talk about what other people is already on the top of their mind. So don't ignore that. So the original theme was pretty generic, but let's, the GPT doesn't necessarily know the time of the month. So you always want to set, if there's something going on, give it that context so that it knows that we should be celebrating and we should be talking about that. So now what you have a theme that's focused on what's coming, that's connected to your ideal client. And now you've got some subtopics that you can talk about every week in the month of November. Now, what it's going to do is ask you after, if you agree with this, let it know that you agree. If you disagree and you want to give it some more, say that. Talk to it like you would a friend. I was just talking to one of my clients / friends earlier yesterday, and she was like, I've got this idea. I was like, go to the GPT and ask it what you want and talk to it like a friend. So I encourage you to do the same thing, particularly with this custom GPT that I've created for you, is if you don't like something, ask it why you don't like it, or tell it why you don't like it and what you want as an alternative. But assuming that you like this, you're doing self-care, you like this information, these are great subtopics for you, then proceed forward. So then the next thing, hopefully everyone can hear me because I'm really good about doing this. I think I'm not on mute. All right, perfect. Then the next thing that you want to do is you want to answer these questions, which are what is the type of content that you want to create? Do you do reels? Do you do short videos? Are you on Instagram? Like, what are the platforms? Do you want lead magnet ideas? Based on what you told it, it's going to then respond accordingly. So what you want to do here is identify the kind of content that you want to create. Maybe you don't like to do video. Maybe you just want to do blogs. Whatever that is, be specific about the content type that you want. So I want blogs, reels, and images to include. Carousel. And you may not know what all these things are, and that's okay. What I want you to do is I want you to not be afraid to ask for what you want. So carousel, images, and then I am on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube, and I post 3 times. Post frequency is 3 times per week. I think that's too much. Don't want to schedule too much for yourself. And now based on this, it's going to then spit out the calendar for you. So it's going to tell you the week, it's going to tell you the days, the type of content that you can create. You know, I recommend you actually go through it, see if this is what, like, do you like what it's giving you? And if you don't, then speak back and say, I don't like this, or it's not, you know. And again, if there's some additional information that you all would like to see in this GPT, put it in the comments, tag my name, and I will absolutely take a look. If you're on YouTube, all you have to do is put it in the comments, and we respond to all of our YouTube, actually respond to pretty much all comments across all platforms. So what I love about this, again, is that this is your 30-day. It tells you each of the items for each of the weeks based on the theme that we've selected. It gives you a title. You know, if you don't like the title, maybe you want something else, maybe it's not the right tone, you can give it that additional context as well. But now what you have is your entire month of November's calendar that also is going to take into account Thanksgiving week and what you can be doing on that. And so based on this, you know, it's going to ask you, do you like it? Do you want it in a document format? If you do, say yes. Yes, I want it in a document format. So again, think of it as a conversation. Have the conversation with the GPT. Let it know what you want and what you're doing, and then it will actually deliver what you want. So that is the good thing that I want you to remember, is what you want, ask for it. This particular creation of the document takes a little bit of time because it's actually going to create a document for you. It should. Sometimes ChatGPT fails on this part, but let's see what it does. It will actually create a downloadable document for you, and then you can download that document. And then when you download the document, so you see it's downloading the document, gives you a November content. I'm going to actually just put this in my how-tos here, and then I'm going to actually open up G Drive. Let's look at recent, and then this should show up. So this is now here, and so when we open up the document, what we're going to, I'm going to open up, I don't have Word. If you have Word, it'll open up in Word. I have Google Docs, so I'm going to open it up as Google Docs, and then what it's going to do is it's going to give you a summary, and this is great. So now you don't have to cut and paste. It's actually going to create the content that you want. It's got the titles and everything. So now you've got an idea of what you want. So now what we want to do is we want to actually create the actual content. So if you're okay, after we review everything, then you want to create the content for each one of these. And so this is where you can have the GPT, you know, so it's actually Social Flow GPT. You can have it proceed to the next step. So thanks. Now let's create the content. And I recommend doing this week by week so that you don't get everything spit out and then you're going to have to go through each one of them one by one. So I recommend asking it for 1 week at a time so that you can look at it and get exactly what you want. And I'm a firm believer of thanking the GPT. So here, what it's going to do is, since you said that you wanted blogs or whatever your content type is, it's going to then create the outline for each one of the items that you've created. And then it's going to ask you to review that. And so again, depending on the frequency of what it is that you have, it's going to go through the outline, and then based on the outline, it will then, if you're okay with it, it will then create it. So I also like to do this day by day or by category. So if that's something that you like to do, like I like to do all my blogs at once, then I like to do all my reel scripts, and then I like to do all my live content. Whatever structure makes sense for you. Doesn't make a lot of sense for me to define that structure for you. It really depends on the type of content that you're creating in your travel business. But if you're doing videos, you're doing a lot of like short videos, maybe you're doing a lot of imagery, maybe you're doing social media posts, you're doing whatever you're doing, my recommendation is to group it by the type of social media content that you're creating. And then I like to output all of that at one time. So if it's blogs, I'm going to do all my blogs at one time. Content, reel scripts, I'm going to do all my reel scripts or whatever. So group it and do it based on what makes sense for you. So I'm going to just tell it, let's instead work on content by type, and let's create the outlines one by one. Now I made this a little bit more complex for myself because I included blogs, reels, and carousel. So based on that direction, it's then which one do I want to do? I'm going to do reel scripts because that one's kind of fun too. And so what it's now doing is it's giving me an outline for each of the reels that we want to create for our 30 days. So we said that we were going to go, that we do content 3 times a week. So that's going to be like 12 pieces of content that need to get created. And then based on that schedule, this is what it's doing. So it's creating, all right, your like a literal script of what it is. Now, I typically like to have just text only so that I use a teleprompter. So I would just say, give me the text only version line by line, because then you can copy that into a teleprompter. I use a teleprompting software called Prompt Smart, and then I can just use it on my phone, and then it's actually prompting me the language of what it is that I want to do. So this here is your script that you have. I copy all those into your teleprompter if that's what you're doing, and then I would just go and I would sit down and I would record them all, and then I would release them on our platform. That's what I would do for my scripts. For my blogs, we would do all the blogs at one time, write all those blogs out for the month, and then we would schedule them inside of our Travel Pro Suite software. Social media posts, we would do the same thing. We would create, I asked for carousel images, so we would create the images and then we would schedule them. The idea is batch the work up in terms of the best way that makes sense for you. My goal, from last week to this week is to introduce you to the concept of creating bulk ideas, right? Creating information that you want to release a month at a time. When you start to get really savvy, maybe you do this a quarter at a time, right? We do, like I've mentioned a couple of times, and for those who are in our Facebook group, we do our holiday planning. All of our holiday social media posts are done in bulk. We do them this time of year. We schedule them and then we're done. We don't have to worry about social media posting for specific holidays. That's already scheduled. So that work is done and forgotten. Happens one time a year in bulk. That's it. We actually will be giving our Facebook group members. So if you are a member, we will be giving you 2025 holiday social posts that you can do as long as we hit our 1,000 group members. So if you know anybody who's interested in AI in the travel industry, invite them inside of our group. As soon as we hit 1,000 members, we will be giving that as a gift to you all, that you will actually be able to upload into your Travel Pro Suite system with just a couple of clicks, and you'll have all your social media content created. Now, we'll also be including a wonderful gift with that, which is the Canva templates that you can customize for major holidays and major reasons to celebrate in 2025. So with that, today, I really just want to make sure that you guys have not only the ideas, which was last week. This week is all about getting the content done. Use our Social Flow GPT to help you create that content, create the themes, create the actual plan week over week, and then actually create the content. Get it all queued up so that next week we can actually schedule it out. So let's say you're doing reels, get all your reel scripts done and scheduled and what you're going to want. So let's take like the next step here. Now I've got a script. You need to go record it, but then you need to promote the reel. So you need to actually, after you have the reel video, you need to actually schedule the video on social media. So you can just add the video, but then I would actually, what we do for promotion is we do what I call round robin promoting is we'll do a video. We don't promote it all to the same platform on the same day. We'll promote it on different platforms on different days. And then we'll do social media posts and emails that reference that video. Oh, excuse me. That reference that video, and then based on that reference, we then point people to the link to that video again. So we get to reutilize that. So now that you've got the script, you can ask the GPT is, okay, can you give me, I would finish all of the scripts for the month, because again, I just like to have everything so that I can just sit and record. I don't have to every week. I'm like, oh, well, what do I need to record? I like to just get all my recordings done in bulk. And so that's what I would do is I would finish doing the script. But once I'm done, I would say, can you give me the social media announcement post to go with the reels for cross promotion? And then this will also give you the language for that. So literally sit down, take a couple of hours, think about the theme that you want for the month. Think about, have the GPT help you with the topics for the month, help you with the titles and what you're going to talk about each day based on the types of content that you want to release in your business. And then sit down and actually knock that out in bulk, right? Maybe spend a day and work on your blogs if you're a blogger. If you've got reels, work on your scripts for your reels. If you do social media posts and you like imagery, whatever that is, sit down, plan it out, get the content straight the next day, then get it all done, whatever that is. If you're creating lead magnets, if you're creating scripts, whatever that thing is that you want, block out the time to actually get it done, and then come back and let's get it scheduled. I want you to get into the habit of create, define, so plan, create, schedule, measure. Those are the 4 steps that you should be following every month, every quarter, every year to really start to show the platforms that you're consistent, to show your audience that you're consistent, to start to get people to notice you based on that consistency. So the more consistent you are in the delivery and showing up and showing out in your business, the more results that you're ultimately going to get. So with that, I am going to end it today. Next week, we will talk all about how to extract this information. I'm going to actually pick up from this chat. I'm going to have an example of 30 days worth of content, social media content, and show you how you can bulk upload that into Travel Pro Suite, get it all scheduled, and forget. So with that, we are going to go straight into office hours. So if you have any questions or concerns or need some help with anything in your travel business, join us inside of office hours. Go to sundaygardner.com and join me inside of the Zoom room right now, and have a great weekend, and I will see you next week.